Hey guys, it's Elan here, the founder of Sleek Geek, and today I wanted to talk to you about the concept of abandoning perfection and looking for progress. Now, this is something that I've witnessed along thousands of people over the last couple of years, is an area that trips them up. And today I'm going to tell you a little story and try and teach you to just avoid seeking perfection and hopefully set you free on being able to produce results in your journey. So I was on our Sleek Geek Facebook group this morning, and I was asking people, what they're struggling with on their journey. And one of our users said she's really struggling to stay the course, to stay on track. And when I talk to people, I love to ask them questions to really understand what's going on with them. And I started probing with her a little bit and trying to get to the surface of what does it mean to stay the course. Because, well, let me preempt the solution. But what she said was, I asked her, does this mean in the long term? What does it mean? Does it mean a month from now, 3 months from now, a year from now, a decade from now, or a lifetime? What is that staying the course? What is that length of time? And she obviously came back and said, probably a lifetime. And I said, exactly, correct, guys. And I mean, that's the first thing that you need to really come to terms with. A lot of people, you take up 30-day challenges, even our 8-week challenge, you take up diets. But what people fail to recognize is that when you're embarking on a healthy lifestyle, it's literally from now until the rest of your life. One thing that I can tell you from experience, guys, is that, for example, people who have achieved a healthy lifestyle. I've been doing this for 8 years now. Eric, our co-founder of Sleek Geek, he's been doing it for about 8 years now. And one thing that I can tell you is that, yes, it gets easier, but you still have to work at it every day for the rest of your life. You don't magically become an in-shape, healthy person, and then you just go back to doing what you were doing. It just doesn't work that way. And I think that's why a lot of people struggle to maintain. They might find it easier to lose weight, but they really struggle to maintain weight because they haven't managed to achieve a sustainable lifestyle thereafter. So that's the first point that I wanted to make, is if you're in a health journey right now, if you're midway, if you're a year into it, if you're a week into it, if you're starting from scratch, you've got to really understand that you've got to take a long-term view. Yes, we all want short-term results, but you have to take a long-term view on your health. So first things first, she acknowledged that she's in this for life. Now, then I asked her, well, okay, if we're in this for life, are you an all or nothing type of person? Do you have to be perfect in everything you do? Like, for you, what would be acceptable, in terms of getting things right? Would getting things right 100% of the time, 90% of the time, 80% of the time, 70% of the time? What do you feel is required? And she answered like most people do. Most people expect that you have to get things right 100% of the time. And she said she would feel okay with 90% of the time. And I think this is where the problem comes in, guys. Yes, if you want to make fast, rapid progress, you need to be getting things right most of the time. But if you take a long-term view on this journey, then over the average, over the years, you only really need to be getting things reasonably right on a consistent basis. Now, let me illustrate this point. And I think what we struggle with here is human beings, we still have, our brain, our evolutionary brain is still kind of wired to, respond to things that are immediate gratification, seeking shelter, food. Whereas we live in a world where we're constantly looking at a future horizon, planning for our retirement. What's our health going to be like in 5 years? What's our business going to be like? So we're in this constant dichotomy of, this brain that is thinking about instant gratification and then trying to marry that with seeing a long-term view in a picture, which is obviously what we really want to work on. So if we took a long-term view, and people often say, do something your future self will thank you for. If we took a long-term view and I said to you, listen, I'm going to ask you a question. You can have scenario A. Scenario A is where you embark on a new health routine or plan or diet or whatever it is, and you do it for the next 6, 8, 12, even 6 months, 100%. For the next 6 months, you don't make a single mistake. But then what happens? Life gets in the way. Life gets messy. I mean, everything goes to bang and you're back to square one. You put on all the weight, and a lot of people listening to this video, I know, are going to be nodding their heads, and they know that experience. Or if I said to you, what if you took a slower approach? What if you aimed to get things 70% right, let's say, as a random figure, for the rest of your life? And for the rest of your days, for the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, I don't know how old you are, you can get things 70% right on a daily basis. And, ultimately that is going to lead to a healthy life because you are what you do repeatedly. So the first thing I want you guys to understand is, yes, when you do want to make some change aggressively, your compliance is going to have to be fairly high. But if you take a long-term view to health, get away from this all or nothing mindset. And also, what I really want you to get away from, the key takeaway from this video, is abandon the idea of having to be perfect, because that is basically going to hold you back. It's going to drag you down. It's going to set you back if you're chasing perfection. Now, unfortunately, we live in a social media, Instagram-driven culture where everyone projects these perfect lives. And you're probably sitting there thinking the people that you aspire to, the people you look up to, people in the Sleek Geek community who aspire to me, probably think that we have these perfect lives and we have these perfect weekends where we don't go off the rails and we don't end up driving to the petrol station at 11 o'clock at night to buy a chocolate. We do, guys. We're human beings. Your personal trainer, everybody, anyone you aspire to does not have a perfect journey. I mean, I was watching a documentary on Husayn Bolt where he talks about the fact that he hates training and he actually wanted to avoid training and he lamented being a star. Now, this is one of the greatest athletes of our time that we've witnessed. Someone like him does not have a perfect journey. He is constantly in a struggle and he doesn't get there every day, but he gets there most days. And that's really what you've got to recognize, guys, is that you are setting yourself up for failure. You've got the wrong benchmark if you feel like you have to be 100%. Now, how does this apply to you on a very basic level? Well, this is what I've seen over the years that happens to many people, and I'm sure a lot of people listening to this video, I'm almost done, guys, so don't worry. A lot of people who are listening to this video will identify. What typically happens is you get all excited and motivated to start your new plan, diet, whatever it is. Monday, we're going to do this, okay? Then by Thursday, a lot of people are still kind of in the game, but over time, what happens is that if you can't tick off a perfect day, let's say Monday was hard, Monday was easy, Tuesday was a little bit harder, Wednesday was a little bit harder, on Thursday, it's 3 o'clock on Thursday afternoon and you're thinking, damn man, I just want to go to the canteen and buy a chocolate. So what typically happens? You go, you've lost all your willpower, you go buy the chocolate, and now you feel like an absolute loser. You feel like you failed. You'll say things like, I can't do this, I'm not cut out for this, I'm not the type of person who can stick to a diet, and you give yourself a get out of jail free card. People typically pick the path of least resistance, and that's when they throw their hands up and say, you see, I told you couldn't do this. Their friends, their family maybe say, I told you couldn't do this. And what do? You just give up, okay? Give up because you thought the standard was to be perfect. You thought the standard was to get 100% right. You thought that everyone else who's ever done it or who's ever achieved got it 100% right. And that is 100% not the truth. The only difference between you and them is that they picked themselves up and they carried on until the next mistake, until the next mistake, until the next mistake, and they got a little bit better, and they got a little bit better, and they got a little bit better. Guys, I've produced consistent results for a long time now, but I can tell you one thing, my life is anything but perfect. I often have indulgences, some that are planned, some that aren't. I'm a human being. I'm still an emotional eater. But you know what has been the key thing for me? Is I always get back on track and I bounce back very quickly. I know what it is that I want from life. I get back on track. I try to be better. I try not to make 2 mistakes in a row. And that is essentially my secret. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say today. Please, guys, go check out sleekgeek.co.za. We've got lots of free tips and information for you. Join our Facebook group if you're not already a member. If this inspired you, whatever social media platform you're on, please share it. And I look forward to seeing you in the community. Cheers.